My name is Joanna Burk, and I'm one of the 2 LEGO Education certified teacher trainers at Modern Teaching Aids. The other teacher trainer is James, who's actually on the chat function, and I'm sure he'll look after you and answer any questions or make a list to be saved till question time. So, to give you an idea of what we will be covering in today's webinar, it's obviously we're going to look at the Spike Prime kit, the sensors and the programmable hub. Have a look at the software, so look at the unit plans, which are absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to demonstrate a unit called Super Cleanup, but maybe a couple of others as well, depending on time. Demonstrate the Scratch-based programming, review the online support materials, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end, as I said. Firstly, I'd just like to give you a quick idea of the concept behind the development of Spike Prime. So Spike Prime is really a perfect addition to the LEGO education product family targeted for years 5 to 8. However, in saying that, I was talking to a teacher in WA today who absolutely loves it. She says the students all love it, and she introduces it into year 4. So it's whatever really works for you. It sits nicely between We Do 2 and the EV3. For those of you who are not familiar with either both or one of the other platforms, We Do is for younger students with an emphasis on science and coding, and EV3, the 3rd version of Mindstorms, well, they both offer a low point of entry, i.e. easy to get started. However, EV3 has a high ceiling right through to computer science and secondary university. However, there was a concern and feedback from teachers that the gap between We Do 2 and EV3 was too much of a jump for many students and for some teachers. So this is where Spike Prime fits in. I think it gives that extra confidence to teachers and students, in particular girls. They all seem to love it. So from the ground up, it's really been designed with LEGO Education's core philosophy in mind. As you can see up there, that play is essential for learning and building confidence. So that philosophy is based, I guess, on Seymour Papin's theory of constructionism, which is the idea that children learn best when they are actively engaged in constructing something that has a personal meaning to them, be it a poem, a robot, a sandcastle, or a computer program. We all know, and especially you as teachers, that it's always optimal to have students engaged in hands-on and playful activities. So at the same time with LEGO Foundation, I have, always researched the common characteristics of playful experiences, and they've boiled them down to these 5 characteristics. So joyful, I mean, students, if they enjoy what they're doing, they're going to be motivated. I think that's a given. It's meaningful to the students. They're actively engaged. They're coming up with problems and learning how to solve them, so they're iterative and socially interactive. And we all know that all students like to chat with each other, share their ideas, and help each other in problem solving. So teaching STEM, or STEAM, I guess, can be challenging. And as I mentioned, Spike Prime was developed to be innovative and engaging and to really help build that confidence in teachers and students alike. So everything about it is easily adaptable to any learning environment, making it fast and simple for you and your students to get going and start learning. So I guess, what do you need and how do you get started with Spike Prime? So you need the core set, which you can see up there on the slide, and you need the Spike app, which you can install and download. One set supports 2 students, and there is an expansion set, but you don't need that for most of the unit plans that actually come with this software anyway. It's mainly just used in the competition unit. So when you first open your set, you'll see a laminated card. I've got a quick video I'm going to show you in a sec anyway, which will show that rather than me hold it up in front of the camera. It's but you'll see there, which I think is really great, is that there are 2 sorting trays that make it a lot easier when the students are working in pairs now. and you get a sticker sheet, and as well the bags that you come in your sets are numbered. So it's just a matter of obviously just putting them into the right compartment where the stickers go, and it sort of helps a lot with set management. And I think the other thing is you also receive a bag that's unnumbered, and that's for spare parts, and I would suggest that you put that away. So when you do get your spike sets, the best thing to do is to number them immediately, and I would number that spare part bag as well. It'll keep it going. The other good thing with the spike is there's some new, unique and new elements, which I really love. And again, it's the colours that are appealing, but I'm not going to go through them because I'm quite sure that you can have a look yourself. For those of you who are familiar with Lego, you'll actually pick up the ones that are new. I think I'm better off just, I'm just going to check that I've got my sound on for you. What I'm going to do is just show you this quick video, because I think it sort of is the best way for me to explain what's in the box. So I'll just go through to that, and hopefully it will all load up okay for you. Okay, so I think that's a really sort of good video, and it gives a good description of it. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into the hub and the motors and the sensors, have a look at those, and then we're going to get straight into the software. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of that first, and then we'll go on. So and I'll show you the hub closer up in a minute. So the hub itself has a gyro and an accelerometer in it, and it allows obviously then for many programming possibilities. The motors you can see up there, there are 3 motors. There's a large motor and 2 medium motors on the right side of that hub, and what they include are an integrated rotation sensor, so the motor can report both speed and position. That also has a starting point as a guide. So all the, I guess, the electronic components you might notice also can easily fit to a frame that you would have seen in the previous little clip then. And they're nice and compact, and they've been squared off with plenty of connection points, which hopefully you'll see in a minute. So then we have the other sensors there, which is the distance sensor, which is attached to the small frame. And the distance is like the ultrasonic in the EV3. So just briefly, it measures distance to an object or a surface. I'm not going to go through it all now, but obviously with your students, it's really good to connect obviously the sensors to the real life scenario. So clearly in the ultrasonic, we've got cars reversing or doors open when they go into buildings, but it's always great to get them to give you a lot of input in that way. Then we have the color, which is in the middle there, and that one is obviously detects color and reflective and ambient light. And then we have the force sensor, which is a little bit of a step up from the touch sensor with the EV3. So it can detect obviously simple touch, but it can also measure up to 10 newtons of force, which I believe is equivalent roughly to a kilo. So I think it sort of gives you a lot of, I guess, options for you. So what I'm going to do now is stop the share for a minute, and I'm going to show you the hub, and we'll then move on into the rest of it. So just for now, I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to bring up the hub for you so you can have a closer look at it. So this is the hub, and as you can see, it's nice and compact. Now, the first thing I'd like to show you is, because this was a great for me, was that this is the rechargeable battery. It fits really snugly into there, so you don't need any major tools or anything to take it in or out. It needs to be charged. Obviously, it's all charged when it's in the hub. The good thing about it, though, is there's no AA's, so it's better for the environment as well. And at the same time, hopefully you can see all the connector points, and I put in a few connector plugs for you so that you could actually see those in there as well. So what it has too are 6 multi-ports. So there's 3 on each side, and they allow you to connect either your motors or sensors to either one. It doesn't matter which one you connect it to. It has a speaker in the front of it. It has your USB connection, and I think that one here. So your USB connection here, so you can download your programs into the USB, or you can use a Bluetooth connection. So it's up to you and what you use. However, the first time that you update the firmware in your hub, when you first receive them, you do actually need to connect it via USB to a device. But thereafter you can use your iPad. So it's just good to know that. It's also charged obviously through the USB, and you just need to plug it into your USB charger that you've got, and away you go. So it makes it pretty simple. So you have obviously the, as I said, the multi-ports, and they labeled A, B, C, D, E, and F. Mine have actually gone around in black because I found on the white you couldn't really see it that clearly. So you have a Bluetooth button here that you press to get it going, and the other thing here is your start button. So when I turn this on, hopefully it should come up okay for you. And you should see, so we have a 5x5 mattress display, which is really good because they can create all sorts of images on there. And the other thing that I can show you now with a bit of luck, if I'm going the right way with this, you'll see the numbers are changing. So that means I've got some programs downloaded into this brick. But so you can download 20 programs into your hub at one time, and they are numbered from 0 to 19. The numbers that you've got in there, it won't show obviously 0 to 19. It only shows up with a number when you've downloaded the program, which is good. So other than that, I think that's probably as much as I need to show you close up there. What I'd like to do now is to take you into the software, and we'll have a look at it, and we'll go from there. So I'll just go up into the software, which should be somewhere up here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to open it, and here we go. Okay, so you should have the software up on your screen now, and what I'd like to show you is when you first open the software, I'll just pop this down for a minute. So when you first open the software, you go into what is called the lobby, and you have a couple of menus identical. So you actually have the words across the top. So this is the home page. We have start, and we have the start here, which is a visual of it. We have the units, which are the great unit plans, which I'll take you into shortly. We have the build as well, which I shall come back to. and then my projects. So also there are recent projects that show along here, and we can also show all the projects. So for now, what I'd like to do though is, just before I go into anything else, is just to show you the software. Now, when I first open it, it gives me a choice of Python or Word blocks, but we're going straight into the blocks. So I'm just going to come into here, and you'll see I have a lot of projects that are sort of all along the top here. Just very briefly on the left side, before I go into it any further, all the blocks are called stacking blocks, and they are all color coded, and they are all then under their palettes that are colored. So we have the motors, you have the movement, light, sound, events, control, etc. So I'm just going to go up there. We'll obviously have a look at that after as well. And then we need the hat to start the program. So I'll come back to that. But what I'm going to do is, up the top here, you'll see that we have a connect. So I'd just like to click on here, and I'm going to hopefully connect Bluetooth. And I happen to know that that's mine. And you always hope that these things connect, because every now and then Bluetooth may not connect. Anyway, so it's all connected, which makes my life a lot easier. And what I'd like to do now is to click on the hub, because what happens now is we go into what is called the dashboard, which is really good because it allows your students to not only troubleshoot, but to just see where all their motors and sensors, but they can also get live feedback and readings from their sensors. So when you go in, you've got obviously the yaw, the pitch and the roll, the tilt angle. When we're looking at the gyro and the accelerometer, so I guess it's one's measuring angular velocity, and the other one, I guess, in speed. So we have the tilt angle here, where, for those of you familiar with drones, would be familiar with those terms. We have the orientation, where you can see it actually changes for me, back and top, and it should change again up this way and bottom. So then we have the gyro rate, and we have the acceleration. So it does show up there for you to go in, and it allows again for more program possibilities. Then they can go in here and manage their programs as well and organize them. They can also go up here and reset. So but what I will do now is, so that you can see them connected, I will connect a motor to my hub, and then you can actually see it connected up there, and you'll see it showing up here, and I'm connected to output B, and then it will show you the rotation of the axle, and I can just turn it around, and you can, the students can actually check for one if they say that the sensor or their motor isn't working. This is a really good check for them. So, but what I'll also add now is the ultrasonic sensor, so that you can have a look at this. And as I said, the ultrasonic sensor measures the distance, but it also has lights around its eyes, which can be programmed individually. So you can see that its maximum is on 200. And if I was to bring my hand in front of it, you'll see it goes up to about 4 and it stops. So the other good thing with this is you could actually hold it down, and they can measure what's a good distance from where they're sitting, and you can do some really good activities with it. And what I shall do now is connect the let's see, I'll connect the force sensor. So this will just give you another indication of getting a reading from the sensors. And sorry, I'll move it around so you can actually see that. So here I have the force sensor connected, and you've got 0 because 0 is 0 newtons. So I can lightly press it and it just changes. So you can just do a soft touch, but otherwise I can press it down to get to 10 newtons, and you can see the reading on the dashboard, which is a lot clearer than looking at in the programming. And then the next one that I can attach here now is the color, and I might just pop that up on here. And once we've got the color up, so at the moment it is a color sensor, and you can see now I'm reading green and it shows up a number 5 because the colors all have numbers designated to them. Other than that, I can change it to reflect, but I'll just leave it on color for now. And so that is the dashboard. Up here again, we can rename it, so I can obviously change it to a different one. Gives me my battery level and the hub firmware version. So I'm just going to close that for now. So when we go in here on our programming screen, you can actually see that they are listed up here as well. But when you go into the dashboard, it obviously gives you a clearer indication. Now, I might just remove these sensors off here because I just want to show you how quickly it is to get up and running and program with the stacking blocks. So I've got obviously my stacking hat that I need, and I think I'll just use the color sensor in this instance. So what I'll do is I'm going to use the motor block. So I'm going to get it to go the shortest path to its 0 position. So I know it's going to start at 0, so it's going to go there. But I think I'll set the speed down lower than 75% so that maybe you can see it a bit clearer. Also, I change it to 15 and see if that works. And then I'm going to run it for 1 rotation. So I'm just going to give that a go. And away we go. So hopefully it's sort of almost gone around to its 1 rotation and started off okay. So what I will do is quickly just add the color sensor. So now what we're going to do is when the color sensor reads green, I'm going to, we'll show you the pixels. So I'm going to turn on there, but probably what I should do is change this, and we'll try and maybe should have dragged that around actually, make it look a little bit like a G. That'll do. Okay. So, and then what I'll do is I'll come down and get a sound so I can show you this block as well. So when it detects green, it's going to turn on and show us G on the screen, and it's going to play the sound of a cat meow. And when it does that, it's going to run for 1 rotation. So I'll start it off there, but I'm not going to start it yet. What I'm going to do is duplicate it to show you this. So you can duplicate, add comment or delete block. I'm going to duplicate it and bring it over here. Now I'm going to change the color to blue. And clearly I have to now get a B out of that. So hopefully that'll do. Now let's change the sound. So if I click on the actual sound here, I need to select add sound. Oh, sorry, I've got, so I think we'll use bird. It's a nice gentle sound. So then I have to go back in. Just because you select it doesn't mean it's going to come up. I have to go back in and select bird and then change it. So I'm now going to get this to run anti-clockwise, and hopefully I've got everything in place, and let's give it a go. So I'm going to go back to, okay, we're going to start first and do our 1 rotation. Okay, so when the color is green, and let's hope this works. Okay, hopefully you all heard that a little bit. Anyway, that's just really to show you how easy it is to get up and running and have a bit of fun with it, because you can imagine your students having fun, I'm sure, with the sound. So that's just the programming side of it. But what I'd like to do now is to go back to the home, because I am mindful of the time, and I certainly don't want to to go over time with this. So what we've got first is, as I said, this is Get Started with Spike Prime, and this is where you would start with your students. And if you click on here, it says, okay, getting started. Now, you've got to create a Lego emoji, which is something that we've just seen. Then they explore the motors and sensors, they make attachments, they go in for it, and they can work on their own. I'm not going to go right into these now. And then there is a make it move, building a hopper. And actually, this is the first time I've seen this used when you go into something like this straight away, where you actually get to build the robot without wheels and you have a lot of fun. I've got a little video that my colleague actually took at this workshop with a lot of teachers having fun, and I'll show you that shortly. And so once you've gone into that, you've then got some extra resources on this particular page, which are a whole lot of fun lessons that you can do even before you go into the unit plans. Now, all the unit plans and these lessons are all, I guess, laid out the same way. So I'm going to go into one in the unit plan, so I'm going to come back to it. There are also the teacher resources online, which we'll get to. There's a teacher preparation here as well, which is very similar to the video that we saw earlier. So in other words, this is all in the getting started section, where you would be getting your students, I guess, warmed up to it, and they would be pretty familiar with it by the time you got around to it. So the next thing that we're going to look at then are the unit plans, which are really good design. They all have their own theme. They have, I think, about 4 to 6 units in each, and they are increasing in their challenge for the students. So there is the Invention Squad, which is applying obviously the engineering and design process, and like they're looking at inventing stuff, always helping people with ideas, and I guess that's a good thing for them to do, to be looking at that. Then you've got Kickstarter Business, which is looking at developing their computational thinking skills to, I guess, be an entrepreneur and come up with amazing ideas and share it with everyone. Now, at the start of each of these unit plans, there are short videos that you can watch, and your students can have a look at them, or you can show them. The next one is life hacks. So, and I'm sure that you can have a lot of discussion with them about this, especially now. So there is anything in your life that could benefit from a hack. What if that hack could help you see data? And then there are a number of plans down there, which I'll come back into. And then there is essentially the competition ready, which introduces you to getting your students ready for any robotics competition that might be. And in this instance, I think the last couple of those units use the expansion plan. Before, I'm going to come back to these unit plans, but before I do and show you some of the unit plans in action, I just want to bring you to the build, because I found that some of the teachers have missed this. So I think this is pretty important, because as you will notice, the unit plans obviously offer all the structure and guidance, and then allow the students to go off. But if you want to give your students that bit of extension work, or you've got students that just need something extra, obviously you can use these building instructions for lots of different applications and possibilities. But what you could do is get your students to build, because it just gives them the build, to build their models and to code it, and the challenge being to code it, and then just see if their code is perhaps better than the code that Lego are offering. I mean, that's always a good challenge to have, and I've seen students get pretty excited that their code is definitely better than Lego. So, and at the same time as they're doing that, they begin to find a way that they think is better. They think that they can improvise this, but they think that their solution or their model is actually better. And that's really what we want them to do, to start problem solving, but see them sharing ideas and see them working in groups. So the build is a really important part of it, and I encourage you to use it and look at it. But I am going to take you back in the unit plans now, because and these are so awesome and really do help you. So the Invention Squad itself, I'll show you a unit plan from here. You can see here we've got help, I've got the hopper race again, so it's just more detail. There's a super cleanup, which I'm going to show you in a minute. There's broken. We sort of like broken because it's broken, and they've got to work out what it is and are they going to be able to fix it. And then there's design for someone, which is really good. Now, the design for someone is inventing something for yourself is one thing, but have you ever thought about designing something for someone else and perhaps their colleagues or someone with a disability? This actually follows the same theme, follows through from We Do. So if any of you do have We Do in your school, you'll actually see that there is a good link with it there. Anyway, this is the super cleanup, and I guess we all like our students or anyone to clean up. So it's all about getting your gear ready. It's up to you to save the world from litter bugs. And they build a grabber. They have a couple of grabber designs and a controller, and away they go. Now, all the unit plans are actually designed the same way. So it's going to tell you how long it takes, which is 30 to 45 minutes. And there's a start. There is more, and I shall come back to the more in a minute to take you to the online resources. But if I just go on to start. So as I said to you, all of them, and I'll just bring this up, and I hope that it sort of comes up clear enough. All of them have this video so that they can actually see what the activity is. So it's all about, did you see litter on your way to school today? And I'm sure everyone did. Wouldn't it be great to organise a cleanup day? It's a big job, so you're going to need some trash grabbers. How can you find the best grabber for the job? So I'm just going to play I think it's a really good introduction for students to see that, because I think it's just a very clear video. It shows them the model, it shows them someone using it. So the idea is now they're going to build two grabbers, and they're going to start by testing the two grabbers, and they'll also need the controller. So all the build instructions, I'm going to show you, these are laid out the same way as well. So it shows what it should like when they finish. It should look like when they finish, I should say. So there's the controller, the grabber 1 and 2. I'll just select the controller, I think, because it's 15 steps. So it's pretty clear in its layout. It's very visual, particularly if you have any ESL students to look at it. But they just scroll through. It tells them how many pieces of Lego they actually need and how it all connects together, and essentially it's done. And then they go back to, now we move on. And once we've built it, they've got to then gather up the litter, and obviously it's a Lego brick or empty plastic bottle, anything. In fact, I've been in workshops where I've had teachers and we've turned it into a competition to see which grabber works best and how many objects you can pick up in a short amount of time. So that would be something really good to have in the classroom as well. So they can play this program to test the two grabbers. Now, the one thing that they do come up with is, I need to just take it back. Sorry, I forgot I was still up on the, you can't see the program. Okay, so what they do is they come up with a program. So this is the program, and these are only the blocks that are needed for that particular, a solution, well, their solution for this particular activity. But you'll see down the bottom here, it says lesson, and it's also got Spike Prime. So if I was to select Spike Prime, that's going to come up with all the blocks. And if I just want to see what is for this lesson, I can go back. Now, I think I probably forgot when I was doing the download before to show you the download button, because I don't remember saying that. But this is obviously where you download and play the program. And then this 0 here is where you can actually change the numbers of the slot that you're going to download your program. So this download button will download the program and execute it immediately, whereas this one will download it into the hub, and then you need to access the program through the hub. So the other thing is there are more blocks that we can look at, but we'll just go through this briefly. So the idea is now that there are lots of little, I guess these are lesson plans, they call them, and they can give a score, they can go through these PDFs that you can download, and then they can come up with a conclusion, and they can present that to you. They can collect more objects, as I say, from around the classroom. They can see, or around the school, good way to get them out. Then they can record a video explaining what they've been working on. So I really like those unit plans in that they actually can come back and show you. So I'll just go into the, I have to come into it this way, into the more, because what I would like to show you now is, as much as this is the same video, I'm not going to show that again. If I click on the lesson plan here, I hopefully will be able to share this with you, and it should come up okay, and with a bit of luck, so it just takes a bit of time to come through. So all the unit plans, every single one of them have their all support material here, and they are all have the lesson plans for you, which makes it a lot easier for you in the classroom. And they have what level they're from, they give you an idea of grades. So they're all based on the Lego 5 E's. So we've got obviously engage, and they give you ideas here, and I'll show you that below. So you're going to engage your students for 5, explore, have your students work in pairs to build the hand controller and 2 test grabbers, etc. We've got explain, have your students test their grabbers by grabbing different objects, weights, similar sizes, etc. Then you can elaborate with further class discussion, and you can give feedback. So you have the assessment. So it's in more detail further down. There's ignite a discussion, and then there's the building type, and it will show you the different building types, the common objects that you can use, the coding tips, which is really good to have. And then obviously the differentiation, so you can have a simpler activity, or you can, where you can extend your students. The assessment opportunities, so you've got your teacher observation list, your self-assessment, your peer assessment, which is really good. You've got a student worksheet that you can actually look at. But I guess the good thing here is the teacher support as well. You have your key objectives, the things that you're going to need. I think they've told you that a few times. You have the additional resources, so you can actually print out the test tables as a PDF, and there are the building instructions. And then what's important too, all the Australian curriculum links for technology are all available for all the activities and all the unit plans, which is, I think, make a lot easier. There is one thing across the top here, you can actually click on them. So what I am just going to show you, which I think is important, is the extension, so the cross-curricular of it. You've got the language arts extension, you have the maths extension, and then very interestingly, you have a career link. So this is where LEGO obviously thinks that students possibly have a career and head that way. So I think it's really good to be able to have those available to you, and it's I think that they've done a really good job in that respect in getting it and presenting it so that it just makes it a lot easier for teachers, and particularly when you're so busy in the classroom preparing lessons. So I'm just going to go back to the units again, and I'm just a bit mindful of time, but I would like to just show you one from Life Hacks. So just to give you another simple activity, I'll just show you quickly. This is called breakdance. And it's all about how much time do you spend sitting down, and probably at this time too, it might be a good thing for them to get up and get doing. So this is just getting their robot and getting a little dancing robot going, and it's so all of them, I say, have really good videos, and I think that for me, I could just go through sometimes and just watch some of the unit plans, to be honest with you, but it's I just there is one more. I just really think that I just want to see where it is. I just have to show you this one, and I'm sorry if we're going to be running a little bit over time. But this is about a safe. This was the one that really appealed to me when I actually ever first saw Spike. So I'll just show you this video, and then we will carry on, just to give you an idea of where you can take your students. And okay, so that's just to give you a little bit of a taste to get going with it. So, but I think those unit plans, I mean, there's an awful lot of work in there, and I really think that once you get started in them and you actually see what's available to you, there are other resources. There's heaps online, but before I forget, there is the very important little gear up here, and the help. So the help I found really good, because I wasn't familiar with Scratch, having really only worked with Lego, and when I was teaching, there was nothing like this in the classroom. So, but the word block description I really needed, because I was lost. I really had no idea. So I have found that this has been really useful to me. It's all in order of where they are actually in the software, not that they say that. It's a pity that they don't have a picture of the block there, but if you go in there, it does actually tell you what each block is used for and how to use it. And I think I found that quite, that was really good. The other thing that I would like to show you now is I am going to just go back something very briefly, and sorry, I'm mindful of the time. But for those teachers of you who are based in New South Wales, and I think it'll probably be happening in other states as well, This is a draft version, so you're seeing it before anyone else, and there's probably a few things on here that aren't quite right. But we're running, I'm on the RoboCup Junior Committee and in New South Wales, and we're running a virtual competition which will be going live soon. And I think the registrations will close at the end of October, and it will be judged at the end of by end of November. But we have a lot of challenges, lots of categories, and these are them, and you just have to apologise because I know this is a draft version, but you know, I thought I really had to show you. So there are these challenges. There's the Art Pot Challenge. So they've got to submit a photo of a piece of art drawn entirely by a robot. They don't have to use Spike, but there is a Spike only competition which I'm going to show you. There's the On-Stage Challenge for those of you who are used to your dancing robots. There's a Rescue Sprint, a Maze Challenge for Senior, a Maze Obstacle Challenge for Junior, a Helper Robot Challenge, and a Lego Education Spike Challenge. And Watch This Space is a soccer simulation that's been developed by a very cluey, altogether young ex-uni student, but now software designer on our committee. So, and then this is the Lego Education Spike Prime Challenge. You have to have a Spike Prime set to go in this. However, you can win a $500 voucher for your school. So, as an engineer in a top robotics laboratory, you've been asked to join a new and exciting research opportunity to develop and build a new bio-robotic creature. And these are all the what you need. So this is what you're going to need, and this is the specifications for it and the submission for it. There is resources that you'll be able to look at. This will all be live hopefully this week. So and I know I'm not going to get into trouble for showing it, but I just really felt that I needed to do that so that we can go on. So I'm going to go back to the slideshow now, and I'm guessing I better move on because you've probably and we've actually looked at the unit plan, so I don't think I really need to see anything more about that. But what I am going to do is just quickly show you this video of these teachers having so much fun with Hopper. And as I say, it's pixelated to just for privacy reasons.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
As it's called the destroy bot.
Getting out of the way.
So you can see they're joyful, meaningful, engaging, iterative, and socially interactive for sure. So hopefully it's all been enough for you to get a good overview of Spike. So before we start answering questions, those are interested, there's a 15% discount code on that slide, which is sitting there. It's 15, as I say, 15%. It's only valid for 2 weeks. And I suggest you write it down because it's not going to be available anywhere else, and it won't be emailed out. So the other thing is MTA recently dropped the price on all Lego robotics, which is really helpful. So you not only got that, you got this. If any of you would like to be put in touch with your local school rep, if you don't know who it is, please email me at jburk@teaching.com.au, or you can contact James. He's jdwyer@teaching.com.au, and I don't have that there, sorry. Anyway, I think that's about it, and we'll take some questions. I'm assuming I will unmute you all and see how we go in doing that. So let me just go over. You can probably do that, can't you, James? But I'll, okay. So you should be able to talk now. With a bit of luck, and show your videos. Can you hear me, James? You there?
Hi, Joanna. Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Yep.
All right. So how are we going? We've got lots of questions or not?
Oh, it was fairly quiet on the chat function. Yeah. So you must have covered most things, but
okay.
We had Ali ask whether there are what was his question? In addition to the word block descriptions used in the help guide, Can you also recommend somewhere that offers coding PD related to these specific word blocks or similar?
Yeah, we're seeing what we can find. You and I actually are looking at that, aren't we? We are discussing it because no one's doing it yet. So, yeah.
I responded that we do, this is a webinar and we do run workshops where we go into, the various blocks and how to code the robots.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think what you're talking about is a guide itself that we were looking at, whether we develop some posters or something like that as teaching aids that might go up on the wall, that sort of thing. Got okay, yeah, so he's attended one of the workshops and wants to go into something a bit more in depth. In that case, if you've attended the workshops and you've sort of got an overview, you can either continue to sort of experiment. We'd sort of encourage you to experiment and try and learn it yourself and test what the blocks do. If that's frustrating, you can always try and go online. There are, Google's amazing, and you can often find people who will explain different blocks, that sort of thing. If it's not there already, it'll be, growing as the sort of, community, if you like, gets behind it and creates videos like that. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, we might do some more advanced workshops, that sort of thing. Okay.
I would think so. Once we get into it, it's just been.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Give them.
You're more than welcome to turn your video on if you want to.
Yeah, you can just unmute yourself, ask the question. Whether you turn your video on is up to you.
Yeah. But we'd love to see you if you're in New South Wales. We'd love to see you enter the virtual competition with your students. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess we're all wound up for the day then.
Okay. Yep. If there are no more questions, then yeah, we'll finish it up.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for attending. It was really good. I just wish that it was face to face because this is, as I say, very different talking to a light. Anyway, perhaps we'll see you at one of our workshops in the future. So thank you all, and bye for now.